Hey everyone, I'm Kai Down. I'm the customer support representative and QA tester, among other things, at ML Sound Lab. It's fair to say I've had a good amount of time with each of our amped plugins, and today I'd like to run you through my top 5 channels. I would first like to mention that these are in no particular order, and that I'm choosing specific channels of the amps rather than the plugins themselves. So first up on this list is Amped Roots 5034, or the Amped Roots Free. Now everybody knows and loves Amped Roots Free, so I'm sure it's no surprise that this one's showing up on this list. Amped Roots was the first ever experience I had with ML Sound Lab's amped plugins. I have to say I've never really fallen out of love with this one, and it's forever secured itself on this list. This amp is tight, aggressive, and articulate as all hell. It really rewards you for picking hard, and you can completely change the feel of the amp just by changing the cabinet. Now, I really like this one for angry, brutal hardcore. Next in this list, we've got the Oracle Rock 100 Dirty. This is an amp I'd been asking Miko to recreate in the Amped series ever since we first released Amped Roots. Now, these amps are absolutely dominating the live circuit, here in the UK at least, since they can be had a lot cheaper than the US-made alternatives. This amp is a very unique sound. It's got a lot of crunch and bite to it, but it's still super heavy and saturated. I find that this one slots into a mix really nicely, and since there aren't too many controls on it, you can also dial it in super fast. I'd say it's a really good midway point between the more British style of high gain where the sound is super dry, and the more American style where it's super saturated and thick. The gain knob on the Oracle plugin is particularly powerful. It can take you all the way from a nice low gain crunch all the way up to searing high gain. I really like it for that sort of pop punk leaning into more metalcore sort of sounds. Now, if you've seen much of my playing before, you might be surprised to see Amped VX30's 90s Bright channel appearing on this list. In more recent times, I found myself pairing this one with fuzz pedals, like the Xander Cafetiere for example. I do also just love it for that indie rock sound with a Strat. I grew up on bands like the Wombats, the Strokes, and Block Party, so the VX30 plugin's small combo sound with the nice jangly breakup nails that vibe perfectly. I typically just leave this one on the stock indie rock preset, but I do often turn the gain down when I want to get the more jangly sounding chords. I'll play a short clip without the fuzz pedal engaged, and then I'll engage the fuzz pedal and show you what that's doing. So for an honourable mention, I'd like to add the Amped ML800's high channel. While it's not one I reach for all the time, it's perfect at what it does. This is a fantastic amp for boomer bends, pentatonic runs, and power chords that ring out for 3 to 5 business days. Now this amp also blends really nicely with just about any other amp. I'll typically use it as a lead guitar with something like the Amped Triple or Amped Dual running the rhythm guitars. I figured I'd add this as an honourable mention rather than a straight up entry, since I'm mostly using it in tandem with these other amps, but let's hear it do some boomer stuff just for fun. Now, back to the list, we've got the flagship Double J Clean. Sometimes I'll pair this one with a bigger, more ambient reverb, such as the Valhalla Supermassive or Helix Native, but more often than not, I'm just running it straight from the plugin. It's super articulate and bell-like, and really lends nicely when you're blending it with more heavy guitars underneath. I've had to pull out the Solar 29-inch baritone for this one because this amp absolutely crushes in drop E. The high gain channel of Icon is my main go-to for metalcore riffing. It's super punchy and it sounds fantastic even on the default settings. Now this amp has got an exceptional feel to it. It's unforgiving enough to reward you for playing tight, but it's not so unforgiving that you have to play tight, quite like the ML800 plugins or other British voiced high gain amps. So there's a look into my 5 favourite channels in all of our amped plugins. Please let me know in the comment section below which of these was your favourite.